Okay, so we're live. And then people will find us, and we'll see that people are finding us once they start commenting.
Okay, cool.
Hi, book clubbers. If you're on, you can say hi. I don't see anybody has seen it yet. Facebook takes a little bit of time to show people. It is the nature of Facebook. My mom has been reading your book.
Oh, neat.
And when I talked to her last, she was almost at the end of it. I think she said her Kindle said that there was like 2 hours left.
Okay.
She's
nice.
Loving it.
Oh, good.
She's such a reader. She's like a huge reader.
Oh, nice.
Go through books in like one day. I cannot do that.
Wow.
But, yeah, she loves to read and she loves a good story. So she's been enjoying it. Oh, there's Kimberly. Hello, Kimberly. Kimberly is one of my admins. Thank you for being here. Yeah, if you're on, you can say hi and we'll get started in just a second. I was trying to find my pen, my lucky pen. Oh, well, I've got my highlighter. All right. So we'll get started. And people will show up when they show up. I'm going to turn the ticker off. Oh, hello, Jules. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Awesome. Okay, so we'll get started. Hello, book clubbers. My name is Megan. I'm your fearless leader of the book club, and I'm here with Kayla Allen Omeiza, who wrote this incredible novel called Afrotistic. And you can find the links to that in the comment section. Kimberly is already putting up links. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate you. Kayla is, I would call you a world traveler, if nothing else. You're a world traveler. You're from the States. You graduated from the University of Miami, or Miami University.
The other one, Miami University.
Miami University. And then you went on to Oxford, and you're still at Oxford. Is that right?
Yes. I'm still in Oxford in England.
And are you did you already graduate from your master's program?
Oh, yes. I graduated in 2020. We're here as my husband's actually finishing up school here actually now.
Excellent. Congratulations for that accomplishment. And you have worked on lots of research projects with dealing with autism, with Harvard, Duke, lots of places. So that's like super incredible. What did I miss about you?
I think that's it. I grew up like around the world. My dad was my dad was in the military, in the U.S. military, in the Army, and I think a fun fact is that I lived in Japan for 6 years until I was 12, and then I moved to a suburb off of Buffalo, New York. Since then, it's where I went to middle school and high school. Yeah,
that's awesome. Did you learn how to speak Japanese growing up?
I guess my favorite thing that I can still remember is Nihongo wa sukoshi desu, which means I know a little bit of Japanese. Please don't speak too fast. Basically,
it's like the best one to learn.
Yes.
So just don't speak to me in Japanese. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know it. All right, so your book, Afrotistic, this is the book, and Kimberly's got all of the links up, and you have a blog called Where in the World is Kayla, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes. I'm also updating my personal website too. That hopefully they'll be up soon. But
yeah, that's pretty dope. I've been looking at it. You have awesome pictures. I think you were by the pyramids at one point, and that's awesome. So, Kayla, can you tell us about yourself just growing up? I know you said that you're like a military brat, and you traveled around. Can you tell us about like everything else about your life growing up?
Sure. So I grew up, I was the oldest. I'm the oldest of three. I guess for context, I wasn't diagnosed with autism until I was 24, and I never thought I was until maybe about 23 and a half possibly. I was just always like, I guess people would just call me like an odd kid. Basically, I just kind of just like kept to myself. I was really quiet, especially around middle school and high school. And I went to middle school and high school in a really majority white suburb. It's like 98% white. So it was really odd coming from like Japan, whereas like of course like mostly Japanese, and then coming to yeah, East Amherst, which is mostly why it was just interesting being different, like in different kinds of ways, basically.
Always feeling different. Not it might not be because of that. It might be because of something else. Different in so many ways.
Exactly. And I didn't, and so that's why I assumed I was, yeah, I wasn't autistic. I was just, yeah, I was just a black kid basically, or something. I just felt like I was odd because of other reasons. Luckily I was really good at track. Like I was really good at track and field when I was in middle school and high school. So that kind of kept me just like kind of focused yeah, just on, and yeah, just kept keeping me kind of happy basically in middle school and high school. And yeah, and I eventually stopped when I was in university. Yeah, and I studied psychology in university, and for whatever reason we would just like go through like huge chapters about autism, and I would just go like, oh, okay, because I mean they would like, oh, this like it was about, yeah, somebody else basically. I just saw like,
All
yeah.
of the pathologizing and all of the, yeah, like white centered.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always, yeah, you always see like, yeah, those, yeah, like maybe like a 7-year-old white boy on the textbook. So I mean, why would I ever, yeah,
Right.
why would I ever relate that to myself? So so yeah, I just studied it like any other thing I was studying it basically. Yeah, I worked at MGH in Massachusetts General Hospital, and we were researching autism as well, and it just never, yeah, it never really, yeah, crossed my mind.
Never even occurred to you. Right.
I actually had my brain scanned as a control sample in that study. So
That is so funny that you even said that. I have to write that down. You're a control sample.
right, yeah. So not the best. Yeah. Then I've always had like problems with like maintaining like friendships and like social relationships, and just like kind of, I wouldn't say rock bottom, but it all kind of like just kind of blew up like around like when I was in 23 or so. And I realized I think I saw some tweet about autism, about, yeah, from like an adult, just talking about like sensory issues, and I realized that I don't like wearing jeans. I don't like, I mean, I don't like just different sensory things about me. Things need to be really quiet. And I started looking up, I took like a autism screener, and I was like, yeah, it was completely high. And then I told my therapist, who didn't believe me until I told her that, like, have you noticed that I never wear jeans? I've never worn jeans. And she's like, okay, I'll take you to an assessor. And yeah, and it turned out that it was completely accurate.
It's funny, like the things that you just don't do, or you do, or like you just accommodate yourself in such a way that, yeah, and you never say I don't think we ever said growing up it's a sensory thing. Nobody ever said that. We just didn't wear jeans. It gives me a rash. It hurts. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It was just very uncomfortable. And yeah, a lot, especially in track, you had to wear like those Under Armour tights, and it was the worst thing ever. Especially when it rained, it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Then they stink. Well, I know my sons do. So you have siblings as well. Is from your book, I'm assuming your book is parallel to your life, but I'm just assuming that. But do you have siblings? Did you grow up with siblings?
Yep. Yeah, I have a younger brother and a younger sister. Yeah, the book wasn't, I mean, the book was parallel to my life, that it was, I wanted to, I'm not really good in imagining settings. So I put the setting like basically like similar to my hometown, near Buffalo, of course. And so it was a similar setting. And the little brother, Ray, my brother's not autistic, and yeah, he's not non-speaking either. But I basically wrote Ray's character as if he was my brother when he was 5 years old, basically. So everything about
Mhm.
like him liking bionicles and like just how he played was basically, I just wrote about my brother, basically. But
So when you went through school, like, did you feel like you excelled at school, or did you struggle in school, or were you really good with academics?
I think I was very woefully average, and yeah, at best, basically. I failed a few classes, especially starting in middle school and high school. I started failing like trigonometry, geometry. I had to repeat. I think I had to repeat most of the math classes. Um, but it was just like really just woefully average. Like basically, I was like a grade ahead in math, but then I was like, I kept failing it, that I had to like take like the remedial math class that was a grade ahead. So it was really confusing. And so it was, yeah. But yeah, I graduated in high school, and like it was a good high school, but still I graduated like the bottom half of my class basically. So I wouldn't say I grew up like just like being like academically gifted or anything. I definitely don't think I had the accommodation that could have supported me. I started to excel when I was in like maybe my third year of undergrad, which is right when I started to specialize in my major. I think that's when it goes into special interest and everything. I just started really getting into research, and my grades just completely turned around from there.
Because you were able to even focus on like what you wanted to focus on and not every single subject in the world. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I totally get that. So when when you got your autism diagnosis, you said you were about 24.
Yeah.
Like, how did that affect you? Like, as a woman, as a Black woman, getting this autism diagnosis, was it a good thing for you? Like, was it a or was it? I mean, you can tell me all of the things. I'm sure it was more than one thing, but tell me about that.
It was a good thing. I was really happy to know, to understand why, and it was nice that a lot of things that I thought. I mean, I had that classic mindset when I was growing up, thinking that I was adopted, thinking that I was an alien from another planet, basically. So it was so it was really reassuring to know that that yeah, it's not because because it's not because of something. It's not because of there's at least a reason to know why I felt like at odd and out of place, even within like my family setting. I did like after I think my experience definitely mirrors a lot of blogs out there. I've been reading and relating to a lot of blogs recently, and I definitely went through like kind of a grieving period about like if only I just knew when I was instead of 24 maybe 14 or 4. I think that I think I always wondered like would I be as accomplished, would I be happier? I'm almost 100% sure I'd be happier if I knew earlier, especially when I was a teenager. I was I was extremely depressed when I was a teenager. So I wish I knew, and I wish I had the combination, especially in school and social life.
I just got sidetracked. I saw Dana. Hey, Dana. Um, Gosh, I just had a question that popped in my mind. Now it's gone. Now it's gone. Oh yeah. I wonder about that too. Like if you could go back and tell younger Kayla about like why you feel this way. And there is an answer to that. I mean, did you have any kind of mental health issues like throughout high school? Were you struggling in that way? Or was it just a feeling of not fitting in?
It was a feeling, but it was definitely extremely undiagnosed depression and anxiety as well.
How did
Yeah.
your family react to your diagnosis?
Um, Everyone was surprised, but also not surprised when we just did read more research about it. They're like, oh, okay. I mean, it just never. Yeah, my parents like they definitely said that they've never thought to they never thought that I was autistic, but they never would have thought to get me assessed for autism or anything. But now that it makes sense. It's interesting because I was also in speech therapy until I was 13 years old. So I had a really severe speech impediment. So a lot of things
Go
kind of
figure. Right. Looking back now, it almost makes sense. Yes, that is so. That yeah, I hear that so much from so many people, and there isn't a lot of Black representation for you to look towards. And did you end up finding some better resources? I know you mentioned blogs that you found. Did you find some resources that kind of fit you more?
Um, I would just say maybe just kind of talk like just looking into like hashtags and Instagram posts on on Instagram and Twitter were really helpful. Just hearing from like adult perspectives. I think there's been a lot of like just small communities. Like there was an Oxford, like a neurodiversity at Oxford community that it's just been really nice to talk to like so many relatable people basically, and
That's dope. Yeah.
when I went to school, I went to Oxford when I was 25, so it was after my diagnosis, and just having so much accommodation it was just like night and day from Miami and from high school,
That
and
is really great.
so it's been really helpful for me to to know that there are other people like me and to have support.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to talk about your book,
Sure.
Afrotistic. It's a novel, and it's loosely based on your life a little bit, and it's about a young girl or teenager that's growing up. And talk to us about the book. Tell us what inspired you to write it? Like, give us your process on writing this book. Like, what made you write it in the first place?
Sure. What made me write in the first place was, okay, so around like 2018 or so, I just started realizing I just started falling in love with books. Basically just novels, nonfiction books in general. I used to be really averse to them in high school. I guess just like being forced to to read stuff I didn't wasn't interested in. But after that, I started picking up books again, and I decided to make an Instagram account, like just to like just basically just talking about books I read and just logging like how many books I read this year. And like
I
as I
can
read
see
books,
that you're like that you have like a challenge going on
oh
almost.
yeah, yep, yep, yeah, I'm one of those like
A
bookstagrammers.
mom could beat you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. It'll be close. My so yeah, around like 2019, yeah, I realized. I mean, they're just like I was intentionally looking at like especially novels about yeah, about autism, about autistic people in general, and I didn't see any that were of black people, black or especially black girls, black women. So I decided to channel my inner Tori Morrison. Her quote was like, if there's a book that you want to read and it doesn't exist, then you must write one, basically. So I decided to just, yeah, I'm like, let me just write it myself.
And
And
had you written a lot before of like creative writing to write a novel? I mean, nonfiction is one thing, right? You're like step by step. A novel is like huge. I can't even wrap my mind around it. Had you written before a lot of creative writing?
Not a lot. I mean, I definitely didn't study creative writing or anything, but I've always been that person that would just be really extra on creative writing, a creative writing task. I remember in middle school, they're like, okay, the vocabulary word today is bewilderment. Write a sentence about bewilderment. And I would just write maybe about 30 pages about that just like barely goes again, that barely reflects the word bewilderment.
Flows through you. Gotcha.
Exactly. So yeah, I knew I knew I could write. I always when I read books, I'm like, oh, I could write something like this kind of thing. So I decided to just challenge myself and yeah, and try to do it myself. Yeah, I wrote it extremely fast, and I was really, yeah, I was really happy that it was able to like come out and sort of and
That's
sort of
amazing. I just wrote it really fast. I mean, yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations.
thanks, thanks.
And
Yeah.
Kimberly's showing the links, everyone.
Oh, sure.
And if you want your name to show up, Facebook user, you can click on the link above this video and just grant permission. StreamYard is weird about groups. But yeah. So you were looking for books. You couldn't find it. You decided to write one for yourself. So like, what was your process in writing it? Like, what did you want to come out of this?
I just wanted it to just be about a black autistic girl just existing. Basically, I didn't want it to be like this, like whole. I didn't want it to be center. I really didn't want it to center like trauma. I didn't want it to center. I didn't want it to be like super woe is me or anything. I just wanted to just be like her truth, basically, and just like her story in that year. Like I had a really basic premise that that she was trying to make it into like the equivalent of National Honor Society in her high school, basically. And yeah, and I kind of had the ending sort of in mind. But yeah, as I kept writing, like
Don't say the ending because I haven't gotten there yet.
yeah, no worries, of course. Yeah, as I kept writing, like characters like B and Samuel, just like I just dreamt them up as like I got to their chapter basically, and it just yeah, it all flowed together, and I just kind of added them to my outline and like their character backstory, and it was yeah, and it all worked out.
I love that it's setting like an example of like, so in the story, this is not going to give away the plot or anything, but in the story, she creates what do you call it, like a club.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, she creates a club for autistic kids, like in her school or whatever. And I love that it's setting that example for like a kid to just do that, because we need more of those clubs, right? In like college, we need that in high schools and middle schools, all of those clubs, because like that develops that sense of pride and community. And I love that about the book.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I'm actually working with this woman in Nebraska, actually, called like we're trying to like make this like mini organization called like the like, or I guess initiative called like the Roaring Pebbles Project, where we're like really slowly trying to get like different like middle schools, high schools, even some elementary schools with like autistic, neurodivergent kids to just kind of advocate for themselves, basically.
Yeah,
So
that's
just kind of
awesome.
tell teachers and like what they need to succeed. Yeah.
Dana says, Black joy, Black everyday life. Thank you. Normalize Black people just existing. I know that's right. Yes, yes. And I love that it isn't centered around trauma. It's just centered around a girl who's like, okay, well, I have trouble with this, so let me work my way around it, find my strengths, and do that. I just love that part of it.
Exactly. Thanks.
That's
Thanks.
awesome. So it took you like a year to write, and then, or I'm sorry, you said it didn't take that long to write. How long did it take you to write?
It's really embarrassing saying this, but I guess I just write really fast. But I wrote for an hour a day for 6 days a week for 6 weeks total. It was my first draft. And then I read a book about how to write a book after that. And I kind of restructured it after. So
That
maybe
is so funny. I dove in, I wrote the book, and then I decided I might need to look at how to write a book. That is so funny. I love that. And this book is self-published.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so from this book, you have another project coming out, right?
Yes, I actually recently signed a contract with Jessica Kingsley Publishers called, they were like an imprint of like this huge publisher called, like, I can't pronounce them right, but I think it's Hachette Book Group.
Hatchet or something? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I'm basically writing like a narrative nonfiction book about like the Black autistic experience. Right now I have about I'm featuring about 25 people. I was like doing an onboarding meeting recently, so I have all the stats with people from I think about 8 different countries right now. About like 15 actually autistic individuals, including some that are self-diagnosed. About I don't know, like 3 or 4 parents, and then about 2 or 3 I don't know or so organizations in general. It's
Congratulations on that. That's going to be amazing.
Thanks.
We're going to have you back on for that one.
Thanks. Yeah. I can't wait for. I'm excited to whip out the first draft of it. So many amazing stories I'm hearing, and just powerful stories, and I can't. Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility to do all of them justice and write it well.
No, I hear you on that. I definitely hear you on that. And so will you have more than will you have their stories, or are you going to be writing about them, or is it going to be more like an anthology?
So it's more, so it's going to be writing I'm writing the full thing, and I'm writing it. So I'm writing about their stories basically. And I'm also interviewing a few researchers as well, just kind of like to supplement their stories, just kind of almost like back it up basically.
Yeah, I get that. And to you, just as yourself, why do you think that's important to do? Why is this something that you wanted to take on?
So when I wrote Afrotistic, and when I proposed like this current book, I don't have a title for it, so just like this current book that I'm writing now, I really just I want to make sure there's enough like resources out there for maybe 15, 18, even like 20-year-old me that would have seen it, and that would have seen that autism could affect anybody. It's not just I want to see something outside of like the textbooks, or outside of like the standard norms that we kind of see as the face of autism. And I want families, I want Black families, or just diverse families, and diverse, potentially diverse autistic individuals that might not be diagnosed yet, to see to read those books, and to know that they're not alone basically,
and to even know that it's a possibility for themselves.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think it's so important. I'm excited for that book to come out. You have a timeline for that one?
It's my first time being doing with like the traditional publishing. So I'm thinking like 2024. I think it takes, if I send my
it takes forever.
I think if I send my final manuscript in 2023, I think it might take 2024 for it to be released. I'm pretty sure.
It does take forever. But yeah, that's exciting. That's very exciting. And if anybody has a question from the audience, make sure that you put it in here so that we can see it. See, the Jules is up here. We don't get all of the comments on the on the screen, but most people will see. Jules said forever. It does. It takes forever.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. I do have a question. I usually leave it to the end, but I do want to ask you now. I'm a little off today, y'all, because I have, sickness and allergies and just everything. But if you had a piece of advice, just one piece of advice for parents of newly diagnosed autistic children. So we have a lot of parents in here, a lot heavily parented group.
Okay, cool.
We have a lot of parents in the group, and we have a lot of new educators in the group, and that are just learning and trying to navigate the whole thing. So if you had one piece of advice for the parents in here that are just like really new to autism, like what would you say to them?
I think for both parents and educators, it would be especially for new parents and new educators, I would say to just listen to children, to teenagers, to young adults. I mean, anybody really that they're diagnosed or not, that are feeling honestly anything. Like when I was in high school, like I just felt felt completely alone. I was even suicidal in high school, and people didn't know. And there were so many signs, and it was just it would be like invalidated, like when like, oh, I really don't like my teammates in track, they're really mean to me. And it would just like and like just by teachers and other adult figures, it would just be kind of brushed off, blown off, like and I think it was for whatever reason I wasn't getting as much like validation that what I was going through was stressful, for whatever reason, at least just that, like, even at least just like the acknowledgement that I felt sad, I felt alone, I felt I felt overwhelmed. I think that was really missing in my like teenage, especially teenage and young adult life. For educators too. I remember when I was in high school, I was trying to talk to my parents about this recently, but there was a memory where I was pulled aside by I don't know who she was actually. I can't remember why I was pulled aside, but I had to take this one assessment, and it was basically a questionnaire about, do you feel supported in your classes? Do you feel that your classmates do you feel welcomed in your and by your classmates? Do you feel welcomed by your teachers? And I was going, no, like strongly disagree. And then I would get, like, then maybe 2 days later when she read my results, that whoever the assessor was, she'd be like, that is not what a good student would that is absolutely not what a good student would say on your on those questionnaires. I do not want to see you again, but feel free to ask me for letter of recognition. I just never saw her again, and I didn't know why I was I didn't know why I was there, or I completely forgot like who she was. I can't even describe what she looked like or anything, but I remember that experience, and I remember just learning just to not like this wasn't an environment for me to voice my feelings, basically. So please let people voice their feelings about how they feel.
Seriously. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Like, why even give the assessment? What was the assessment for?
I don't remember. It was just very it was that basically.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Caroline.
Yeah, it was very invalidating.
I'm sorry that you even had to go through that.
Yeah,
definitely listen and try. I mean, it comes to trusting, like, trust that your kid is feeling like that what they're feeling is valid, and that, like, they're feeling that for a reason. It's not just them being dramatic, or what are the other words that they use? Melodramatic, drama, drama queen, oversensitive, that whole toughen up, and
looking at like talking to other autistic adult women, it seemed like that those words were really like high frequency words that people received, especially when they were teenagers. It's just unfortunate.
Oh, this is a great question. I'm going to show it up here. What is your advice to young Black women who are suspecting their autistic identity but fearful of family rejection? That's a great question.
You have to, sometimes it's a good, so if you're suspecting your autistic identity, it's like, if if you think the costs, if they think the benefit of getting an official diagnosis and getting that support and validation, like getting for yourself and for like outside services, and if you're willing to talk to your family and like assume that they'll like eventually understand, then I think that's valid, and that's a good way to go. But sometimes it's hard to, like, if you know that like it could be dangerous, like I definitely understand that there's environments where like any kind of disability, it's just really it's really
Makes you
antagonizing.
very vulnerable. Yeah.
Exactly. Then
Even multiplied for Black women. Right.
exactly. Yeah. It's just something to definitely talk to, if you're in the US, talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist about, and see what their kind of their advice is. But I would try to give your family the benefit of the doubt. Basically, I've been a lot of around, like, especially conservative Christian churches who've been extremely supportive of me, for example, like conservative Black churches, and who I wouldn't otherwise thought they would be so supportive of me. So sometimes it's definitely worth trying to trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah,
There is so much stigma, and it's due to so much misinformation. So
exactly.
even maybe like, I don't know, one thing that I know that there is just with stigma in general, like for people that might not be as supportive, maybe just sending some resources, or just sending like some information that you come across, like.
Exactly. I completely agree. Yeah, just information. And just that's why I like to write, basically, just resources that show that that it's not it's just a, I don't know, it's a neurodivergent. So basically it's just people are just existing differently. It's not less than. It's just it's just different. And I think the more people I think more people come out and say that they're autistic, the more it's helpful for people that might that have that kind of stigmatized mindset of autism to understand that it's not just it's not that that it's like it's that
Oh,
it's a normal human.
okay. Yeah,
It's,
like it's almost normalizing, not normalizing in the sense of the normal, but like taking away some of that stigma.
exactly. It's
Mhm.
because sometimes when you just hear about it in a textbook or something, it's just it comes off as completely it comes off completely different. Like even for me when I read it in the textbook, it seemed like a completely different thing. Yeah.
And I liked how you mentioned safety. I mean,
Hmm.
if it's not safe to come out to your family, like maybe finding other people that it is safe to come to talk to and to come out to about it.
Yeah.
Finding some safe people.
Yeah, and you really don't have to, and you really don't. I sometimes I've been talking to a couple people. It seems like sometimes people feel like it's like a requirement to put like the actually autistic hashtag like on their Twitter or Instagram, but it's really not. You really don't have to tell anybody. Like it's just it's just like saying it's almost like obviously the same thing, but it's like having like diabetes, for example. You don't have to tell anybody except like your doctor if it's relevant, basically. So
That's so true. Right. You don't have to. That's right. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. That was a good question.
very.
We haven't had that one yet. So I appreciate that question.
Thank you.
Let me see. Let me go up to my notes here. Okay, so you're in the research world. Like, what are your thoughts about the research that's happening like now on autism? Have you found yourself in any kind of like dicey yikes type of research, or like are you doing some of your own research?
I've actually I'm an ex academic. I'm no longer in the research world. I've stopped. I stopped after my master's. I decided I no longer want to pursue a PhD or be like be in academia. But I definitely did notice that that especially autism research, that there was a lot of research that seemed like that was going on without like any input from anybody that was autistic, or any parents or teachers or anybody. It's just like I think a lot of research is focused on finding the cause, which seems like it's almost like finding the cure. And basically and it's been interesting. Basically I wrote an essay about an essay when I was in Oxford about like that it's important for researchers to to just like make sure there's like they make sure they're benefiting the communities that they're serving, especially autism researchers, because we have this huge like history of like researchers and autism researchers like propagating like these huge these stigmatized things, like even like of course like there's the vaccines cause autism like myth, and that was started by a PhD dissertation, and there is a lot of other kinds of research that started in the 70s 80s that people still think, if we just ask anybody on the street, they'll still like they'll think that's that's what autism is basically. And then when it's not, it's not true. It's been debunked a bazillion times. And I wrote an essay about that, and I almost failed it. I'm not really sure why.
I was about to say, how was it received?
Yeah, I don't think it was received very well. So I think to me it seems like a case in point that it's just people for whatever reason it's one of those research topics that people don't really want to. It seems like a lot of people at least don't want to have input from the autistic community at large,
from the people that they're studying.
Exactly.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost failed that one. I'm glad you wrote it. Thank you for your contribution, disrupting the status quo. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. All right. So what else? Is there anything else that you want to talk about today? We have the links up to your book, Afrotistic. We have this book on, I think we have it on all of our lists. We have several lists going right now, and we have lots of threads in progress, and this is probably on all of them because it's much needed, right? We don't have enough Black representation in the autism world. So we appreciate you for even writing it. And it's bonus that it's really, really good. My mom says it's like amazing. She's almost finished, so not to give me the end. So is there anything else you want to talk about today?
I can't think of anything, but I actually wrote in the same year, last year, I wrote a middle grade novel, which is a middle grade is for, I didn't know what middle grade was when I wrote it, so I'm saying it for people just in case. It's for 8 to 12-year-olds. Is what
Tell me.
Apparently it was about so there's a character in Afrotistic called Samuel, basically, and it's about Samuel's life about 2 years before like the setting of like the Afrotistic, basically. And it's like I made it like kind of dystopian. It's set in dystopian North Buffalo, but like there's like the two different tribes, like it's like the Gluta tribes and the Sero tribes, and the Gluta tribes basically had stereotypical like neurodivergent traits, basically, and the Sero tribes did not. And then like the Blue tribes were in their own school, and then like Samuel's sister Natasha made this program where they all had to interact together, and it was just like their life their experience it was all said in one day, so their experience like interacting together and like with their different like abilities, like the Gluta tribes weren't able to feel pain, for example, and stuff like that. So it was really it was.
Is that out now, or are you working on that?
No, I'm still. I decided to I want like a few illustrations for that book, so I'm trying to submit that project traditionally, do traditional publishing, so I don't have to put upfront costs for an illustrator.
Because this one is self-published.
Yes.
Right, and then the nonfiction one you have coming out with is with JKP, and then you have this third one coming out, the 10 to 12-year-old middle grade.
Yep. Yeah. So hopefully that should come up in the next couple of years. I'm still just
Do you have a title for that one yet?
It's called The Worst Saturday Ever at the time. That's my working title right now.
Awesome! I can't wait to see it. Hold on, let me see. Saturday. That's awesome. So, hold on. What grade level would you say that this is for?
I set it at for 12 plus, so it was just young adult. It's definitely, I would say it's definitely like lower young adult. Like, I mean, she's 15, and
that's right. The characters are usually the age of the thing. That's right.
Right.
But for like a read aloud, it would be great in like a 5th grade classroom. That would be a dope read aloud.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, Dana says so many books. Yes, for sure.
Thanks.
Dana is a local author. She wrote a children's
Oh,
book called Come Meet Drayden.
oh, sweet.
Yeah. It's from the perspective of she has a big family like me. 5 kids, I think,
Okay. Wow.
or 4. But yeah, it's from the perspective of the siblings. Yeah, it's really good. It's cute.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Very cute.
That's awesome. I'm gonna totally check that out.
Yes, well, is there anything else you want to tell us? What else do you have up your sleeve, Kayla?
Yeah, just yeah, I'm just working in my like just normal normal job stuff as well. So just other than that, just kind of just other.
Well, definitely keep us updated on the books, and we will have you back here to talk about every project that you're doing, because especially, I mean, all of them. Like, I'm super interested in your nonfiction book that's coming up. So definitely keep us updated. You are
Okay.
in the book club, I think. I saw
Yeah.
you in the book club. So yeah, so you can always post and let us know what you're doing. And we're having a book club celebration on Saturday. You can come hang out with us then if you'd like. I think I
Yeah.
sent you the email already. It probably confused you since we were.
Yeah. Yeah, I did actually, but I figured
I
it out.
should have been like, oops, sorry, Kayla. Not sorry for the confusion. Yeah, we're having a book club celebration this Saturday. So we hope that you can join us for that as well. Yes, thank you for creating. Your voice and representation is needed for sure.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Thanks, book clubbers. And I will see you all on Saturday. Yeah, and I will see you in the studio. So just hang tight. See
Okay.
you all later.
That's good. Bye. Thank you, everyone.